Hi everybody, welcome back to Goodnight Lighthouse. I'm Miss Dorothy and I'm here to read you another story. And I've got a book tonight about a squirrel, a very scaredy squirrel. In fact, the name of this book is Scaredy Squirrel. Scaredy Squirrel. This is a story about a little squirrel who's so afraid of everything that he doesn't ever want to leave his nut tree. But he has to leave his nut tree sometimes, and he tries to come up with a plan to make it safe to leave his tree. And we need to get inside this book and find out if this scaredy squirrel will ever leave his tree. Are you ready to get inside this book with Miss Dorothy? Good. I need you to sit up and listen up, because here we go.
Scaredy Squirrel, written by Melanie Watt. Scaredy Squirrel never leaves his nut tree. I think it's because he feels safe there. The unknown. He'd rather stay in his safe and familiar tree than risk venturing out into the unknown. The unknown can be a scary place for a squirrel. He doesn't want to leave his tree because he doesn't know what's out there. A few things Scaredy Squirrel is afraid of. Green Martians, killer bees, tarantulas, poison ivy, germs, and sharks. I don't know where Scaredy Squirrel would run into a shark. So he's perfectly happy to stay right where he is, right safe in his tree. There are advantages of never leaving the nut tree. There's a great view. There's plenty of nuts, it's a safe place, and there are no tarantulas, poison ivy, green Martians, killer bees, germs, and sharks. But there are disadvantages of never leaving the nut tree. It's the same old view, the same old nuts, the same old place. That can get a little boring. Monday, Scaredy Squirrel sits on the tree. Tuesday, he sits on the other side of the tree. Wednesday, he looks out the tree. Thursday, he checks out the other side. Friday, he's on top of the tree. Saturday, under the tree. And Sunday, right back where he started. In Scaredy Squirrel's nut tree, every day is the same. Everything is predictable. All is under control, which sounds a little boring. This is Scaredy Squirrel's daily routine. At 6:45, he wakes up. At 7, he eats a nut. At 7:15, he looks at the view. At 12 noon, he eats a nut. At 12:30, he looks at the view. At 5 o'clock, he eats a nut. At 5:31, he looks at the view. And at 8 o'clock, he goes to sleep. It's the same thing every day. But let's say, just for example, that something unexpected did happen. You can rest assured the squirrel is prepared. How is he prepared? A few items in Scaredy Squirrel's emergency kit. A hard hat, antibacterial soap, calamine lotion in case he gets poison ivy, a parachute, bug spray, mask and rubber gloves, a net, a Band-Aid, and sardines? Those are unusual things to have in your emergency kit. What do you do in case of an emergency according to Scaredy Squirrel? 1, panic. 2, run. 3, get kit. 4, put on kit. 5, consult exit plan. Step 6, exit tree if there's absolutely, definitely, truly no other option. Wow. His plan is top secret. Exit 1, note to self. Watch out for green Martians and killer bees in the skies. Exit 2, note to self. Do not land in a river. If unavoidable, use sardines to distract the sharks. Exit 3, note to self. Look out for poison ivy and for tarantulas roaming the ground. And exit 4, note to self. Keep in mind that germs are everywhere. Remember, if all else fails, playing dead is always a good option. Wow, he's got quite the plan. With his emergency kit in hand, Scaredy Squirrel watches. Day after day, he watches. Until one day, on Thursday, at 9:37 a.m., a killer bee appears! Scaredy Squirrel jumps in panic, knocking his emergency kit out of the tree. This was not part of the plan! Oh no! Scaredy Squirrel jumps to catch his kit. He quickly regrets this idea. The parachute is in his kit, but something incredible happens. He starts to glide. Scaredy Squirrel is no ordinary squirrel. He's a flying squirrel! Wow! He feels overjoyed, adventurous, carefree, alive. Scaredy Squirrel forgets all about the killer bee, not to mention the tarantulas, poison ivy, green Martians, germs, and sharks, until he lands in a bush. Crash! And plays dead. 30 minutes later, he plays dead. 1 hour later, he plays dead. 2 hours later, he's still playing dead. And nothing is happening. Finally, Scaredy Squirrel realizes that nothing horrible is happening in the unknown today. So he returns to his nut tree. All this excitement has inspired Scaredy Squirrel to make more drastic changes in his life. Do you think he's going to be less scared? Now, Scaredy Squirrel's new and improved daily routine. 6:45, wake up. 7 o'clock, eat a nut. 7:15, look at the view. 9:37, jump into the unknown. 9:45, play dead. 11:45, return home. 12, eat a nut. 12:30, look at the view. 5 o'clock, eat a nut. 5:31, look at the view. 8 o'clock, go to sleep. Well, he didn't make much of a change, did he? P.S. As for emergency kit, Scaredy Squirrel is in no hurry to pick it up just yet because the emergency kit is sitting right in a patch of poison ivy. Oh, no.
Wow! Scaredy did have an adventure. Scaredy thought he was all safe up in his tree and all the things he was afraid of, and he wouldn't go anywhere. And then one day he saw a bee, and he jumped out of his tree, and nothing went according to plan. But he found out, wow, he could have some fun adventures if he would just get out of his tree. And he didn't have to do the same thing all the time, every day. Remember his schedule? He didn't ever do anything fun. But now he does, now that he found out that you can go out and have an adventure if you just get out of your tree. But look, his little kit is there in the poison ivy. He's not going to get it. And that's okay, because if there's something you should be afraid of, it's poison ivy. But not everything else he was afraid of. He was being very silly. He was being a scaredy squirrel. But I think he's a little less scared now. And that makes me happy, because I think Scaredy Squirrel needs to get out and have more adventures, just like you and me. We can't stay inside all the time and be afraid of everything. We need to get out and have adventures. We need to be safe, but we need to go out and have adventures. There's a whole world out there waiting for us to get out and have fun. And you and I need to get out there and do it. And so does Scaredy Squirrel. In fact, I found some more books about Scaredy Squirrel. Look up here on the shelf. I have Scaredy Squirrel Makes a Friend. Does that mean he gets out of his tree? Oh, and look at this one. Scaredy Squirrel at the beach. Does he really go to the beach? And there's another one. Scaredy Squirrel Goes Camping. Wow. Scaredy Squirrel learned to get out of his tree, and now he's going to go on a whole bunch of adventures. We need to get in these books. But not tonight, because now it's time for all my little squirrels to get into bed. I need you to get under your covers, get cuddled up, curled up, ready for a really good night's sleep, and come back tomorrow, because there's a good chance we might be going out with Scaredy Squirrel and see what kind of adventures he goes on. So, go to sleep tonight, get up tomorrow, have a great day filled with adventures, and then come back and see Miss Dorothy and Scaredy Squirrel, because I think we're going to read another one of these books tomorrow. And while you're waiting for Miss Dorothy to come read you a book, remember, there's something I'm going to be waiting for you to do all day. Obey, and obey right away. And then come back and see Miss Dorothy, because I'm going to be sitting right here, ready to read another book to you. Bye!
Thanks for reading with Miss Dorothy. I hope you enjoyed this book, and I hope you'll come back soon to read another. What's your favorite book? Drop Miss Dorothy a note and let me know. I'll go find it, and I'll read it to you. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share. I'll see you soon.